week for communications working group. So I'll go ahead and start. My intention is to go through the agenda and also the planning board, kind of looking into some issues there. I don't have any distractions, pretty present right now. And my top priority for the week is, that's kind of part of the meeting for me today is actually I just wanted to realign on some things. We do have also a project verification workshop. We just got the Project Owners 101 launch out today. So I'm actually looking to make sure that we're picking up some different things from the board this week. So I guess we could say coordination. And also Giveth Essentials today. I'll go ahead and pass this to Lauren.
Thanks, Corey. My priorities for the week are just getting things out on the Twitter, making sure that we're talking about the project verification workshop, and today was the Project Owners 101, plus just give backs and any updates that are coming soon. My other focuses in general are just really pushing on Give Power, and then so that we can kind of move forward on the comms for that as well. And I think that's pretty much everything. I don't have any particular intentions for the call. I'm just gonna hang around for the ride and the comments where possible. And I'll pass it to Ahmad.
Thanks, Lauren. So my intentions this week, I feel like this week I don't have that much to do since we launched the Project 101 Owners course. It's mainly probably two things that are my focus this week for comms. One of them is to get the course on the blockchain learning portal. So also add a quiz and all of that. So we can announce that maybe next week. The second thing is I'm also taking part tomorrow in the project verification workshop. So I'll be mentioning the course there, sharing it, and answering any questions people have about the course. Then a third thing actually would be I wanted to formalize the monthly stats that we're sending out. So maybe we can finalize a format this week on what would make sense for us to share maybe every month or so, now that we have analytics set up and we can look at more of our stats. So those are my three things that I would like to focus on this week. And I'm not distracted. Let me pass it to Almond.
Thank you, Matt. My intention for this call is kind of as Corey and Matt were saying, make sure that everyone join and support tomorrow's workshop, the verification workshop, and the launch of the 101 course. I have no distractions, and my top priority this week would be to align and make sure the future Giveth events have their issues open, and also I would like to align in some priorities or working things that we have kind of not very coordinated yet. So yes, as Kareem was mentioning, kind of coordination as well. And I'll pass it to Nicola.
Thanks, Almond. Hi, everyone. Okay, my top comms priority for this week is to have a smooth flow of facilitating tomorrow's verification process. I wanted to ask for support from the team to share about the mandatory updates. I have created an issue number 1013. And yeah, I just basically want to see if we can squeeze it into your full schedule and to make more noise around it. And also finalizing, another focus for the week is finalizing and actually getting reviewed all the comms created for Meet the Makers, and make sure that we can start promoting the event latest by the start of the next week-ish. Yeah, that's it.
I'm sorry, I missed what you were asking for support on.
The mandatory updates tweet/social media post.
Okay. Okay. That's your intention for the call today?
Protocol is yes, just to get support on this one. Yeah, that's the main one for the call.
Do you have any distractions? By the way, just trying to keep track with you guys. Like, if you could just say your intention for the call and then any distractions and top priority for the week. I think Almond, like, you got it so far. But yeah, just those three things. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. So no distractions, and really just keep synced up and ask for support with that tweet.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I'm going to pass it on to Kotabe.
Hey, Kotabe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So my intentions for the intentions for the week or for this call in general?
For the call.
Okay.
For the call.
I just stay in the loop. I'm working maybe a little bit on the background, and top comms priority this week. I will actually talk to some projects in Spanish today. I think that there are a few. There is some inertia with Spanish-speaking projects after DevCon, and so I want to help consolidate on that. That's it. I'll pass it to. Let me see, to Claire.
Thanks, Kotabe. Hi, everyone. My intentions for the call today are just to find out where I can be helpful and to sync up with everybody on comms. I'm a bit distracted today. I'm doing a little bit of work in the background. I'll need to leave early. I'm on taxi duty this evening to collect the children. And my comms focus for this week is to make sure that I have all the social posts in order for all the events this week, and to continue to work on the comms planning process with Corey and Sim. And am I the last one who hasn't gone? Ash, did you go?
Oh.
Or Tropical Mango, you didn't go either, did you? Go for it, one of you two.
Okay. Well, I can go. I don't have any distractions. And my priority for the week is to get that blog post finalized. And also, just with a PFP project, I think there's some things that need clearing up in order to either move forward or pause on the videos and stuff like that. So that's what I'll be focusing on. And I will pass it to, I guess, Ashley.
Thanks, Tropical Mango. My intention for the call is to stream and be here in case I need to speak to any issues. I have no distractions and comms priority this week, and just make sure that events get announced in Discord and go through the GitHub issues that are assigned to me. And that's it. Am I the last one?
I think so. I got to check. Yeah. Cool.
It's me.
Sorry.
Suga.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so my intentions are to sync, and my distractions are aplenty. I'm on a phone and, in a violin lesson waiting room. And my intentions for my work this week is, so wrapping up the Project Owners 101 course and moving on to some other stuff, support on the SBS blog post, and also my what is Giveth documentation is up for review, so I might have to retag some folks on that. Corey, can you add? I can't add this to the agenda. It's a teeny tiny thing, but on Medium tags that Ahmed just sent a little thing on, I'd like to bring that up. Medium, the website Medium tags, and I'll pass it back to you.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's like literally just an FYI, but yeah, let's do that. That's a good point. Cool.
A complaint.
Oh, you have some things. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, awesome. Good to know. The Project Owners 101 course went out today, so that's awesome. Major congratulations to everybody, because I know that was a coordinated effort over many months to get those videos done, and it's awesome that it's out now, and I think it looks really good. I think the design is great. The Medium post went up this morning. The tweets went out 2 hours ago. So if you haven't seen it, maybe show it some love. And just wanted to, there's not really much to talk about here, so I just threw it on the agenda to ensure that everybody saw that it went out. We put an announcement out in Discord as well. I don't believe there's really much else we need to talk about here, but I did want to open it up in case there's anything, still on the table to discuss. Maybe also wrapping into that topic is what you just mentioned, Suga, with the Medium tagging, just as an FYI, because we did put out a Medium post today. Ahmad, I saw what you wrote in the communications channel. So Suga, you wanted to add something around this?
Yeah, I was curious about that. I don't know if I missed the info on that, but when I do a publication, I use the tag words that have the greatest number of the greatest numbers. Yeah. So I choose the tag words that have the largest audience. It seems to me a bit pointless to use tags that only have like several hundred or several thousand, whereas I'm always choosing the ones that'll have like tens of thousands of followers. Am I missing something there?
Yeah, I could explain why. So basically, the way that Medium works is if you want to have these menus. So yeah, like maybe Corey, if you want to go to the Medium just so people can see what I'm talking about. But they have these featured sections on Medium. So if you go on top, like you'll see on the menu, there are these like 5 different menu sections, like Give Economy, Platform, Learn. So all of these, they basically, when you click on them, like the only way to add articles onto these categories is by adding them through some kind of a tag that we post on Medium. So what that tag is up to us, so we can choose any tag. But what I did was I chose ones that I thought made sense for each of the categories. And I looked at which ones had the most articles for those categories. So for example, like the platform one, I think it's dApps. Because dApps was like the most popular one for that category. Learn, I did crypto learning, I think. Something like that. Yeah, but each of them basically are some kind of a tag. And in the articles that you post on Medium, I think you could have up to 5 tags in the articles. So what you could do is 4 of the tags are completely up to you. So you can put literally any tag that you want, but just one of them needs to be one of these tags that are in the menu. So they show up in the menu. That's it.
Thanks, Ahmad. Okay, so one of those tags, and then the rest I keep using the ones that have the most hits.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just like a mapping thing for Medium. Cool. I mean, it's just how it works. Like, there's no other way to make a page with categories unless you add a tag. So, yeah.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Corey, you're muted.
Is it just, before we close off this topic really quick, is there a way to see tags here? Because they seem to be somehow like hidden, or I'm just not noticing where they are, but they're not at the top or the bottom.
You need to be on the Giveth Medium. So I'm not sure if you're someone that's an editor or not, but if you click on edit story, you should be able to see it. But I'm not sure if you're an editor.
I guess it means
not.
that any random reader can't see our tags. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So it's only in the background.
Okay, and FYI to everyone, if you want to give this article some claps, that actually helps. That's like the Medium version of engagement. So just in case you're not aware, that's like a really good thing to do. And I think you can give up to a lot of claps, like even as an individual, like not just one.
Yeah.
50. Yeah. So just so you know. But yeah, I think it was great. I think also the design is really nice. Like the color difference.
I also wanted to just mention the when we launched the donor course, we did do the video embed with the teaser, the intro that Griff had recorded for it, and this was a good video because it was like shorter, punchy, and he was like very enthusiastic. So it was really good for that purposes, and we didn't really have like the equivalent good thing for this tweet thread, but I do notice that this tweet thread hasn't gotten very much engagement and the last one did. So I think like in the future when we're doing courses, we should keep that in mind and like make sure that we have this kind of like punchy, engaging, like join this course, it's so exciting. And maybe we just get Griff to do it all the time because he's great at that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm like sad that this, like, I'm going to post also the tweet here so everyone in the call can at least engage with it. But I'm sad to see that it's only gotten like 9 likes and incidentally 9 retweets. But like the last one got like, you know, like 40 likes or something like that pretty quickly. And I think it's 2 things. It's the fact that Twitter likes when you embed videos. And second, that like the video is like very fun and engaging when you saw his face being enthusiastic about it. So let's just remember that for next time.
Yeah.
On the same note, I noticed, Lauren, I mean, you commented that we had reused that video and that we shouldn't. I didn't think that was so terrible. You felt like it was recycling content, but I think that's actually still a good video, and it's not old. But anyway, you didn't want to reuse it, I guess, which is fine. But I didn't think it was so bad. It's a good video.
No, I don't think it's a bad video, and I don't think it's like a really bad idea to include it like somewhere within the course or keep publishing that same video. But we use that video as an embed when we announced the previous course. And also he reported the kind of frame of mind that he's talking towards donors and not talking towards projects. Okay. So it wasn't really fit for the purpose and also was pinned to the top of our profile for months and many people already saw it. So it's kind of like announcing a new thing with the same commercial video. It doesn't make any sense. And I didn't like the way that it was like the first 3 videos of the course were like, why, intro, why? And like, what's going on here before you really get to the point. So I think like I understood that it was there because the video was really nice and punchy and we didn't have something similar, but like let's make a new version of that for some, like next time we do something like this, if we're going to be creating more of these types of courses.
Great, thanks.
I think even we could make one for like the next couple of weeks because we do want to also post it on blockchain learning. So maybe we could do another thread when we do that as well. So that might be like another chance to redo it.
I was just going to say, like, I also would do that now. Like, I'd say like we create a more custom, we can create another version potentially of the one Griff is talking in, but that's more directed towards projects. And then we could create, I also don't see the problem of creating a similar tweet thread, like repeating it, you know? I think that's okay, or referencing the original tweet thread, but doing like we just kind of announce it again, like continue to announce and continue to push it, because anyways, you know, like once is not enough. And then I think that could be a really cool way to like bring it up again with like a new exciting video. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what we could do is like quote tweet our announcement thread with this new video next week, and then pin that to the top of our profile. And I think that would it would satisfy all the requirements. And maybe we just create a new issue for that, and someone can like bug Griff.
Yeah. So then, in general, I think that was like, it's a good that you bring that up too, because like from my opinion, also, I thought the video is okay to reuse, having watched it. And I guess like across like the working group here, no one flagged that, right? Like nobody seemed to see an issue with it. How can we do better in the future, right? Because like how should we handle this to avoid that? Because we could have, I don't know, you know, like we could have caught that earlier and you know, created this additional video in time.
Yeah, I think talking about it like right now with everybody here is a good way to remedy that in the future. And probably part of the reason that it happened is because like people in this, maybe people launched that course. Some people were, and some every day for months and months like I do. And so like maybe for some people in the call, it was even their first time seeing the video, or they didn't think about it or something, but it's just like talking about it now, I think we know better for next time. And it wasn't so horrible either. I was just like,
it's the same one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm just, you know, a perfectionist about things, but it wasn't like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. It's just, I think that we can do better.
No, and I think like let's just take this like matter of factly, like take opinions out of it. But like, yeah, it's a good point, right? If you look around, like who in the group has been around long enough, there's a few people here. But that maybe like for our review process, it's just important to keep in mind, like if we have a launch coming up of a course, to like ensure maybe, there's a couple of like contributors that have done like one overall like quick check of a course like this, or I don't know, like it's kind of hard to define a rule, but in general, like ensuring, I think that we have a couple of contributors who've been around a lot longer, like doing a check with enough time in advance in case like anything major is caught like that, because otherwise it is a bit left up to opinion sometimes, you know. And I'm always just looking to see how we can like do better next time. So, but in general, of course, like everything went really well, and I think we can definitely create this video. So to that point, I'll create an issue then around like we could just call this like, we're just talking about an intro video, right? For the course, like a first one, right? That we can use to promote it. And we would put like right at the top, at the first thing that people come across.
Yeah. And I think punchy, 1 minute or less, enthusiastic, very pretty. Maybe doesn't have to say everything, but it's like, you're about to learn so many great things about Giveth being the best donation platform ever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Intro video, yeah. Punchy, exciting. Let's say not too long, right? But it you can add some context around this, but like, is there someone here particular that we think would be best to do this, that wants to do this, that has the capacity to do it? Let's say we want to do it relatively soon, right? Since we just put out this launch, but let's say within the next week or two.
Griff, probably, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think the best way to do this is to like just provide more context in the issue, and then maybe either Corey or Ahmad, you could just DM the issue to Griff and be like, hey, give him the context of what happened. Be like, could you just record a 1 minute thing and send it to Ahmad, and then Ahmad will make it look pretty. So like I would assign
tonight, so I can bring it up with him also.
Cool. Perfect.
Okay, we can say basically similar to the Why Giveth video made for the Donors 101 course. I'm just typing this in here really fast for time. Ahmad, I'll tag you in this as well. And actually we can fill this in more, but there we've got that. And I will add this to the Project Owners One-on-One course, Epic, so it shows up in there. And make this, we'll put this like on Sprint Backlog. Okay, cool. Ahmad, do you mind if I assign this to you as like kind of just to own it?
Yeah, sure, please do. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so yeah, we'll need this recorded with Griff, made pretty.
Yes, mine as well, Corey. Just, I think he'll get better at GitHub eventually. We should still consider him a human.
You mean tag him? What? I'm sorry.
I would assign him as well so that he's like, he has a new PA who's supposed to be watching his GitHub notifications and then letting him know about things he's assigned to or tagged on. So maybe his tag will become useful over time and we can like still consider him as someone we would assign.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well then, yeah, we know about this. So we need to make sure that we always have, what do we call it? Like a Giveth tag included, right? In this case, learn is like definitely one. All right, cool. And we'll create a new intro video and new tweets to yeah, announce again. Okay, cool. And then the only other thing just to mention is like, obviously like it's launched now and it's out there. So if a lot of us are also in the Community House working group, it's really good now to be like sharing it, you know, so share it. Think maybe smart about what networks you can put it in front of. If you interact with a lot of projects, like this is like their onboarding resource. So I think it's really awesome. And that's going to get us a lot more engagement than tweeting it, frankly. Like, you know, it's like putting it out in the networks and then kind of driving traffic to the Medium article. And I think it can be used really well, like in conjunction with like just any conversations that are had with projects. So even when you're like out like in the world meeting people. So I think it's really awesome that it's out there. So I'm glad that we got that done. And yeah, and then that kind of is a great segue to tomorrow, the project verification workshop. Just wanted to touch base on that really quick to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. It seems like it. We've got the tweets planned. Yeah, is there anything else? I just wanted to have it on the agenda to check in.
No, I think it's all. Ahmad is going to be presenting the one-on-one course, so it's great if you can join and show some love and also retweet and engage with the tweets that has been out already around this tomorrow.
And also come and join, come support.
Cool. Yeah. Also very awesome. Great timing. Okay, cool. Then I will, so I'm going to add this just as do we need to check in on the Giveth Essentials meeting? You guys all know that this is right after the comms call today. I just want to make sure. Because this is going to be around social media, specifically Twitter, but also, you know, generally speaking, like digital presence online and communicating about, you know, representing Giveth digitally.
Guys, I love these new reactions. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't see them because I'm like looking at the agenda. Okay, cool. Well then, yeah, I think we're all set for that. It's gonna be fun. Definitely come to it if you can, because especially if you want to learn how to become more pro with Twitter, which is great way to support Giveth, great way to support yourself in Web3, and to learn and to share your learning. So then I put this on the agenda because I don't know if you want to speak to that now, Lauren, but I know this is a possibility that we're launching the Cult ETH farm this week. If you want to give some context around this is something we need to be paying attention to this week.
Yeah, I can just give you guys an update, especially since we have some people in the support channel who are on the support crew here. The Cult ETH region farm, we're working on launching it. It's a little bit slow going because Amin is off these days, and normally he could just like get it up really quick. But so we need to kind of coordinate a little bit with the Cult team to get them to assign roles and blah, blah, blah for the contracts. I'm really hoping that we can get it launched by the end of the week. But like, I'll keep you guys all posted on it. If not, it'll be like early next week because it's really not a lot of work. We're just kind of like a little handicapped by Amin, who we so dearly depend on being away.
If so, just playing like, in the case that we are launching it this week, like, is there something we need to be aware of? Is it just are we just looking to put out a tweet and it's something you would handle, or is there anything that we need to be planning?
No, since it's just the continuation of the rewards program from before, I think we just put out a tweet, put out an announcement about it, and just make sure that everybody on our support team is aware. So if people are kind of like wondering about Cult, blah, blah, blah. Also, FYI, support people it's going to be a new, it's going to be like a new farm card. People would need to unstake their LPs and restake them and like stake them in the new card in order to keep earning rewards. So they couldn't actually just leave their LPs where they were before. The other like part of that is that we are going to be paying out the rewards that people had earned before the exploit, and are also pretty close. Like, we have all the data for it. And again, it's just blocked by Amin being away because he would need to set up the transactions that would send them their rewards. They wouldn't be able to claim them from that card. They'll actually be just like claiming them basically like from their Cult stream. It will be allocated to them. But yeah, so that's basically it. The announcements will just be like on Twitter. We'll put in the announcements channel and just like make sure that everybody's informed who's like maybe answering questions around these things.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope you can get it done. Even without, that would be nice. That's a very quick turnaround from last week. I actually like this topic regarding monthly stats, because I think this is actually quite an important topic. It's not something that I just want to weigh in by myself. I know that you have an issue going for this, Ahmad. But I thought maybe we could take like just a few minutes across the group to discuss that, because it seems like we have the capability now to pull like all kinds of stats. And it's a question of like what we think like as a comms group would be most relevant to be communicating out to, to our audiences, to donors, to projects, in like, let's say like a monthly tweet. And this could change, I think, from month to month. I'm not sure it needs to be so rigid that like, every quarter we have this, and this. Sometimes I think maybe it's just smarter to go by like what kind of be like, have like several options that we could go through every month and look at what is going to be like the nicest to report at the moment. Or in the name of transparency, it could be like, hey, we just report whatever our stats are on a regular basis because we're showing, like transparent growth or whatever it is. So there's a couple different ways to go about this, but I thought maybe it would open up that conversation here in our call.
You mean the stats that the other day Sim and Ahmad posted around the website, or it would be covering more like, for example, Twitter or other channels, or which ones?
So
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I can answer. Yeah, so I mean, what I put so far was from stats that are on-chain data, basically. So like all of this is basically like the amount of donations that we received, how many projects were listed, how many were verified. So like most of this is from like the DApp. We could include other like stats on like maybe where visitors come from, where donations come from now that we have analytics set up. But I guess like the main thing was I think reporting on this every month might be too frequent just because it's, yeah, I mean, honestly, most months are not that impressive just to report on their own. So I think it might make more sense if we do it maybe every 2 or 3 months and like just say like this is what it looked like in the last quarter, and then just have like a list of all the things like, you know, this is the total amount of donations we received. This is how many new projects were listed. This is how many were verified. You know, this is like a breakdown of where donations came from. These are like the top 3 donated to projects. So like maybe things like that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I see it also as like it was kind of born as like a recurring content for Twitter, you know, but yeah, in general, like providing some reporting on, basically we can come up with it, right? But like I would think like the most interesting is platform growth. But like growth can be defined in many different ways, right? It doesn't necessarily just need to be like, look how, you know, like number of users, but it can be a little more qualitative, I think is also good. Growth in verified projects, I think is like quite interesting, or like, but yeah, things that we can like put out on reports. I think also it's interesting to think about other platforms, not just Twitter, but thinking about what would be interesting for someone who's not in Web3, not aware of Giveth, but is coming across our profiles on Facebook and LinkedIn. And it's like, wow, they seem to be doing well. You know, they seem to be growing. Like they seem to be creating impact, whatever it is, you know? So I think the monthly reporting is really interesting. It's why I also like thought, you know, maybe we can start working through more of a Google Doc. This was like the things that came out of my brain. But just thinking in terms of like target audience is also, you know, because we have the donors, we have the projects, but we also have like investors, right? We're like fundraising. I think that's also really important to consider. And of course, like investors like to see growth. So if we have nice growth metrics to show, I would say like it's always good to prioritize that. And then I think it's also really good to show and talk about like quality growth, you know, which is more like number of donations per month, like, you know, things like this, showing that we're actually.
I guess the thing is like, I mean, we should try to show it in a way that, I mean, like you said, always shows growth. So if like 1 month the amount of donations go down, it wouldn't be very obvious. So maybe it's like total, like, like total donated that year, maybe, or something like that. I mean, there's like different ways that we could frame it, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree that we should only show it like when it's actually growth and not not just for the sake of transparency every month. But we could post something every quarter, and like Ahmad is saying, show different time frames based on kind of like what the data is. But if you're already kind of going through and finding this data, the tracking transparency, just generally knowing if we're going up and down, I think is useful from like an internal standpoint. And we can also like share it with the comms team or share it with like our dev team. And we're like, hey, after we did this launch or like this last month or whatever, we had a lot less donations. Like what's going on and what could we do better? Like what did we do better last month that we didn't do this month? And kind of we could use those metrics as well for like internal processes.
Yeah, like maybe just like one approach to do this would be just to make a Google Sheet, and I can update it once a month and just put in all of this like metric data. And then, you know, someone else from the comms team, maybe Lauren or someone else, can like go through that and then figure out what's the best way to frame it. You know, if we should mention it on like a quarterly basis, or maybe like mention some things but not others. Yeah, and like leave it like up to someone else on like how they would frame it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's a really good point that if we're like, yeah, if we're going through the metrics anyway, like we should be designating things for internal as well versus external. So yeah, I would say like using a like kind of organizing. I think it really just comes down to like picking a few things, right? Like, so putting some ideas together, picking like a few so that it's not like an overwhelming number. I don't know how much time this takes, like pull these metrics and whatever. But yeah, I think just having like a couple of like really considering again, like the actually audiences one could also be here internal, right? Which is kind of like dev, for example. And yeah, just thinking about what they care about and having maybe like a couple of things per audience that we're just tracking that we think is like really important. And then, yeah, it's taking a look, I think on a, you know, on maybe like quarterly basis or every few months, taking a look at what looks the best, right? And what's like most exciting to report on. That's externally speaking.
Yeah, and I think we could also think about doing info graphics for this as well. I mean, I know that we did like one before for a total amount donated, but we could like maybe figure out what a nice format would look like, and you know, it would look nice, I think, like to have these kind of stats in an infographic.
There are things that we could show on a recurring basis, so say monthly, that isn't dependent on growth or looking good. We could publish things like the type of project most donated to this month. So we could say like environmental projects were really popular this month, or then it gives us a little bit of a chance to say, look, we've got such a lot of diversity on our platform. We've got environmental projects, we've got you know, supporting the needy projects, those kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good point.
Just an idea on how to, I mean, how to also further how to handle this. Like maybe if like Ahmad, like I'm kind of thinking about the way the newsletter is brainstormed on, you know, once a month. Does it make sense to maybe have a setup like that? Maybe once every 2 months.
Yeah, have I mean, like a recurring thing that we do once a month, like, and try to push it out at the end of the month, you mean?
It's kind of like almost like if you wanted to, that's up to you, but like essentially once a month we prioritize talking about this on a comms call, maybe with a few highlights already pre-designated, you know, like if you're taking a look at the analytics with a framework already, you know, like if we have kind of like a compiled, like, hey, any one of these things would be great. And if you're checking through those numbers and you're like, wow, this looks awesome. We see a big increase in regen farm rewards, you know, and that's great because we actually just added like 2 new ones. Then it becomes clear. And if there's like a couple of those, whatever cadence is realistic, but like once a month, for example, that we can then just discuss, you know, or look at like one time a month together and decide which ones we like, you know, and then prepare like comms around that, for example. Because that's kind of the way we handle the newsletter. We go through it once a month, like just quickly align on like what topics are important or which ones are best to report in our newsletter. And then we just execute it, right?
I know that's a good point. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think the idea would be just to like have set examples. So that would be the part, like if anyone wants to give input, there's this open issue here, 904. You know, we have like a brainstorm going on here. And then I think from here on out, maybe we could just have like a short discussion once every 1 or 2 months. And then we just like pick a couple and go with it. hopefully then it's pretty low effort, not taking a lot of time away from us, you know. And I think if we put out like one or like even just a monthly, like a cool monthly stat once a month right now, I would be happy with that. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very useful. So yeah, great idea.
Okay. Ahmad, are you like, would you be comfortable with kind of managing that in the same way as a newsletter, where we like basically having a frame of like a couple ideas or whatever, but we can help collaboratively on it to make
Yeah,
something.
I think how I'm thinking about it now is maybe I'll start with the Google Sheet and just start to input these different metrics, and then people can comment on if they want to add different ones or, you know, what they think makes sense. And then we can, you know, maybe even next week talk about it in our next meeting and see if that sounds like the right track. Yeah. I mean, I think next step is just to compile like a few things, and this is kind of related to like the GPS metrics as well. So Kotabi and I can also have a call about that before that time and figure out, you know, what makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I also wanted to say. I think that at least on the internal side, it's super related, and like it can be the same spreadsheet so that we are not like double working. But yeah, we'll have a call and then we'll figure out what are the best ways.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think it's amazing. If we were to get these out like a little bit more regularly, like it's really, I think it's an awesome way to engage the community and like show them progress, you know, and show that their donations are doing something, show projects that like the platform is gaining traction. You know, there's like so many ways to go about it. So it's cool. Great. I think, I'm not sure if I'm missing anything anyone will talk about, but otherwise I'll go ahead and jump to the board. I think I got everything. So in general, I did have a couple questions about the board because there are a few issues that have been sitting in like review QA for a while. I just wanted to point them out because it's been like a couple months, and like ideally we can like get rid of all this stuff. So just as an FYI, like we've had this issue kind of going on for quite a while. Like they're sitting at the bottom of the review QA section, so I'd really appreciate if you can just check those if they're assigned to you. And make sure that we can move them out. A lot of them I'm still like pinging. I also just had a very quick question. Is Tosin in the Communitas working group?
Tosin is a designer.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I was trying to like in terms of like new feature survey, like this kind of thing, but I saw that he's like the owner of it. So okay.
Yeah, he wanted feedback from people on like after Give Power, but there was some debate like back and forth with like Marco about, maybe he should still set up some more like one-on-one things instead of having this long survey. I asked him to break it up into multiple surveys, but I think he was putting his time in something else rather than pushing that forward. I mean, it's still a useful issue, but like not very time sensitive, and I think that's why it's just sitting there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's the same thing like Kotabe. There's some here. We're just like months. We're an entire summer past this at this point. So if you don't mind just like checking into it, that would be great.
Yeah.
Can I comment on this? Useful. Just the useful settings that I did on my GitHub. I went to notifications and I made sure that I get notified every time that someone, mentions my name or participates somewhere or I'm assigned, and then I can just go to my notifications board, and that's where I see everything there. And it's really helpful for me to stay up to speed with the issues that I'm tucked in. So that's just a little useful tip that I wanted to squeeze in case you don't know.
Thanks for that. Does anybody not know how that works with notifications? It's okay if you don't, but like that would probably help a lot. I get them to my email, so then I see like on a daily basis like which ones I'm being pinged in. Yeah, otherwise I'm also thinking like what doesn't make sense to touch actually base on the PFP collection, or is this a little bit too early? Because I know we have the ongoing forum post. This was an epic I was going to jump into today.
Yeah, I just want to comment on this really quick because actually I was planning to move forward with the comms like in these next days, but then I've been seeing how this discussion and the conversation has been developing on the forum post, which this poll shows that maybe not the designs are really not like nice for the community and so on. So I would like to maybe, I don't know if the best way to move forward is just like to keep the discussion in the forum and that like take a decision there, or maybe just like make a quick meeting some other day and just to figure out if the best thing to do is just like pause this project and to move forward with Give Boost. And I was proposing a meeting because just like for move things like faster, and like just to make a decision and pause the project or see what would be the best way to go and stop like kind of like wasting people's time and just like be aligned.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, like it wouldn't make sense to prioritize the PFP comms this week. I don't know if anyone disagrees with me on that, but like from my perspective, if there's this open debate happening right now and questioning the artwork and all of this, like I'd rather, we're going through our check-ins on the call, like a couple people mentioned PFP stuff, and I would say like set it aside until that's flushed out. So that we can get some other things done this week. Because like what I would like to do is go through I've been doing that, like going through some of the issues here, like that we have a ton of stuff in the backlog. We have stuff in the sprint backlog. There's a lot of other stuff that we could be prepping. Also had a sync today with Monique, and there's like, we're going to be launching an option for people at the point of checkout when they're like donating on Giveth. They're going to be able to like optionally choose to donate an extra, say 10% to Giveth. And that's like going to go live next week. This kind of stuff is like, I'd much rather us prioritize comms for things that we know are coming up like right now, next week, than to be moving forward with a question, like the PFP collection that may or may not be postponed by like, who knows, until 2023 sometime. So just as an FYI, I think, keep an eye on the forum post and also like add in whatever comments you have there, and just know to like put that work on hold. and we can sync up again on that, like, touch base on it next week if it's already relevant. But otherwise, I would say like we touch base on it again once a decision has been made.
Just a question. Would it be better to have a quick meeting about it rather than the back and forth in the forum? Because that's what Alman and I were thinking could be good, just to hash things out, get everybody on a call together, because things will move kind of slowly on a forum with different time zones, different response times. So that would be one quick way to find out if this project is going to be scrapped, if it's going to be modified, if it's going to be pushed back or whatever, because it sounds like there's some feelings towards canceling it altogether, some feelings towards maybe just shifting the focus, and some feeling, so that's the thing. It's really hard to steer the ship. Like, it's Alman and I, but it keeps changing and things keep shifting. So we need to, I guess, get some sort of consensus on the narrative and the utility if we're moving forward. And if we're not, then making a decision that it's not going to happen. We're not going to focus on this anymore. I'm just throwing it out there because I think it would save a lot of back and forth with the forum and the Discord chats.
I don't think that the people on this call are really all the people who would need to be involved in that discussion, because it's like taking into consideration like Monique and like Monique who's like coordinating devs, and like Tossin who's doing design, and Santi who's not here, and Mitch who is working on the PFP affecting boosting. And like, if you think that a meeting is the best way to go forward, maybe creating a doodle and posting it in the forum and tagging those people and being like, I really think that we should do this, is a good way to go. Personally, I just don't want to spend more time on this, because I think we need to focus on launching Give Power, and the PFP collection is taking a lot of valuable resources away from it. So I put that in the forum and wouldn't really want to have a meeting to continue to discuss this. But if more people are like, yeah, no, this is so important, let's definitely do it, then there's valuable in that value in that as well.
Yeah, and then all I can say is, like, for the comps working group side, I would not put more like effort into. It's much better to finish, like you mentioned, Tropical Mango, like the blog post. The biggest opportunity in Web3 blog posts, like things like this, like just FYI, until that's flushed out. So we're not prioritizing work that we end up needing like way later, right? All right, cool. Just for clarity, one more time, so there's a bit of discrepancy, like, or, always like people weren't sure about time zones and all that stuff, time changes. The Giveth Essentials call is starting right now. Yes. Okay. So I definitely want to end this call on time so that we can move over there to the community